Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ashabihi ajma'in amma ba'd. I welcome you all back to another Hadatha my series with Sheikh Salem Taweel, Hafidahullah Ta'ala. Today's episode, again, yet another sensitive episode. Allah musta'an wa li tukla wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. الدكتور الذي يدافع عن التكفيريين. Let's see. Bismillah.
دكتور بناء على معلومات موثوقة ومشهورة أن في دكاترة في كلية الشريعة على فكرة تكفير، بل أن بعضهم يقول إلى متى يحكم آل الصباح؟ يقول للطلاب، هو دكتور. بالمناسبة كلية الشريعة فتحت برغبة أميرية، الشيخ جابر فتحها 82، رغبة أميرية أن تفتح كلية الشريعة. كلية الشريعة اللي فتحها له الأمير دكاترة خونة في كلية الشريعة يتكلمون على حاكم الكويت أو أمير الكويت إلى متى يحكم آل الصباح.
So, Sheikh Salem Taweel, Hafidahullah, Allah musta'an, he says, is that he wrote an article against a doctor who defends the takfiris. Now, of course, in this article, Sheikh Salem Taweel mentioned is that there are dakatira or there are PhD holders or professors teaching in Kuwait University, specifically in Kulliyatul Sharia and Faculty of Sharia, which quite interestingly was like opened by Raghba Media, like out of interest, by the shown by the Amir of Kuwait back then in 1982. This is now these same. This is it. Now these dakatira, these treacherous dakatira, this is it, are in that same university which the Amir opened back then. This in that same university and that in that same faculty they are like basically preaching students what till when the family of Al Sabah will rule. Allah musta'an. The royal family of Al Sabah, Kuwait, will rule. This is it. Like that's the as a like there is a very famous basically saying is that this is like you biting the one who feeds you. Allah musta'an. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Let's see.
مشاهير وآخر وبعضهم يأخذ من الطلاب ويرسل إلى العراق إلى سوريا للقتال، ومعروفون بأسمائهم، منهم من فر من الكويت إلى تركيا بعدما مر على القذافي في خيمته، ومنهم من سجن ثم أخذ عفو بطريقة ما، ومنهم من هو مشهور من طلاب التكفيريين والسروريين. مساهمة مني كتبت مقالا وبينت بأن كلية الشريعة بؤرة للتكفيريين.
So Sheikh Salman Tawil gives the background is that these dakatira, these professors, like some of them were imprisoned, some of them were like like they did basically like openly they would do and say the statements of the Khawarij. And even till today, some of them at some point were caught. Like one of them went to the camp of Gaddafi. This is it was there in the camp of Gaddafi alongside Qardawi and all of those people. And another guy was imprisoned, but he took amnesty. That's like in some way. This is it, and then came back and still teaching in Kulliyat Sharia. So, of course, all of these dakatara, right? That's why Sheikh Salem Tawil written about them that Kulliyat Sharia in Kuwait, in Jamiat al Kuwait, in Kuwait, in University of Kuwait, is bu'ra lit takfiriyin, pit hole for the takfiris. As in, it's like a place where the takfir is spread. That's not because of the this Kuwait University, but these the dakata, these professors, these treacherous professors, who are preaching or who are inciting the students, who are inciting the Kuwaiti people, this is the Kuwaiti female, male and students, especially females, against the state of Kuwait, the rulers of Kuwait. Allah Musta'an.
تصدى لي دكتور اسمه دكتور نايف آنذاك.
So when Sheikh Salem Taweel wrote this article, this is it, like a doctor or a professor named Naif came at the forefront defending these Takfiri doctors. This is it. And refuted and trying to basically oppose, like opposing Sheikh Salem Taweel.
ورد علي كيف المفروض وانت تعرف الحقيقة ودكتور في الشريعة والأمر مشهور إن لم تقف معي لا تقف ضدي.
So Sheikh Salem Taweel Hafidahullah then says is that this is something which is well known and famous, that it is not something hidden or something I have made up. So now this doctor like came at the forefront basically denying all of what Sheikh Salem Taweel said. So Sheikh Salem Taweel then basically said that if you cannot stand with me, then don't be against me at least. Of course, now Sheikh Salem Taweel is not saying this because he is like he is the one. No, Sheikh Salem Taweel is saying this based on facts which is already there. There is nothing basically new which is Sheikh Salem Taweel mentioned.
هؤلاء يفسدون الطلاب ويرسلونهم إلى مواطن الفتن وقتل من قتل وسجن من سجن ووقع في العقوق من وقع. فالدكتور نايف هذا تصدى لي. رددت عليه بمقالين رسالة إلى الدكتور نايف أبين سكت ما تكلم ولا كلمة.
So of course when this happened, this is of course now Sheikh Salem Taweel mentions that these Dakatira, because of them the students, the male or female, mainly male students, they would be sent to these places of fitan, Syria, Iraq, when all of the war and the chaos was happening. They went, they died, and some of them even fell into uquq. Uquq as in like you basically putting yourself in like basically displeasing your parents, because it's a like it doesn't, because it's not possible like basically that like parents would let you go by their own will in this places of fitan. It's not because every parent, right, most of the parents are sensible, they are not like uh, basically insensitive. So basically these guys fell into uquq because of these dakatira and went to these places of fitan and caused chaos themselves, and big problematic things happened after that. So Sheikh Salem Taweel wrote 2 articles refuting this doctor. 2 articles. Let's see what happened after that. And of course, this doctor was not able to respond to Sheikh Salem Taweel, went quiet.
بعد ذلك رأيت بعض الأخوة ممن هو معجب بهذا الدكتور واثنين، قلت لا هذا الدكتور تصدى لي لما أنا تكلمت عن التكفيريين. كيف أنت تجالس هذا الرجل؟ فقال لا تكلمني، كلمه هو. قلت طيب عطني رقم هاتف، أعطاني الرقم، تواصلت معه، قلت أنا بتناصح معك.
So what happened is that some of his fans or minions, and of course the word minions Sheikh Salem Taweel didn't use, but I'm saying it. So some of these people who love him and follow him and adhere him, they also basically were like defending this. So Sheikh Salem Taweel told them, look, this happened with me, that this guy didn't listen to my advice. So then of course one of them, or Sheikh Salem Taweel, asked for his number. This is it. Or one of them gave the doctor's number to Sheikh Salem Taweel so that they could reconcile upon this issue. And yes, so then what happens is that Sheikh Salem Taweel calls this doctor and says that I want to basically like advise you with something. This أبغى أتناصح معك. This is now, of course, now the way this doctor responds, right, that is really like Allah Mustaan, that shows their messed up manners. This is it. Because these same Ikhwanis claim that we نعمل سويا في متفقنا فيه ويعذر بعضنا بعضا فيما اختلفنا فيه. They say that out of manners, quote unquote. But here, right, when they get refuted or when they get responded to or when they get critiqued, right, then they are not able to digest that because they want to apply the principle of democracy, liberalism, and all of that upon the Muslim rulers. That's it. But when they get critiqued, they don't like it. That means they are like basically in their fitra, they are dictatorial in their fitra. This is it. They claim Muslim rulers to be dictatorial. They are the actual ones who are dictatorial. So let's see what happens.
حياك الله كذا، تعال لي في مكتبي في دسمان. قلت ايش الكلام هذا؟ ابى اتناصر معك اجيك في المكتب؟ ما هذا؟ نصيحة، تحب تاخذها خذ، ما تحب كيفك. قال لا انا اسف تعال لي في البيت. قلت طيب معلش، مع ان انا اكبر منه سنا يعني، يقول تعال لي في المكتب. بنصح عن لماذا يرد علي؟ لان انا ارد على التكفيريين يقول تعال لي المكتب. المهم انا رفضت اذهب له المكتب. بعد ذلك رحت له في البيت، جالس معه، قلت له انت متى خرجت؟
So Sheikh Salem Taweel Hafidhullah, this is it, when he said that I want to advise you. So this guy basically obnoxiously, this is it, in a really bad way manner, said, come to my office in a place called Dasman. Of course, in Kuwait there is a place called Dasman. So Sheikh Salem Taweel said, if you, this is that advice, if you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to, then so be it. So then he says, okay, if you are not coming to my office, at least come to my house. They come to my house. That's it. Even though Sheikh Salem Taweel is older than in age. So of course, he didn't take that into consideration. This guy, the Dr. Naif, didn't take the even age into consideration. Allah understand. This is it. Now, of course, after that, this is it. Then Sheikh Salem Taweel says that, like, I rejected to go to his office. Instead, I went to his house. This is it. So then, let's see what happens.
مع اي طبقة، مع اي جيل، هو من اهل الجهرة. انا اعرف الجهرة، فلان فلان، الناس اللي من عمري واكبر مني. انت متى خرجت؟ ما هو منهجك؟ اشوف صوره مع اللي يجمعون تبرع حق سوريا. هو ما ذكر لي، ابى ان يتكلم بوضوح، لكن تبين لي بعد ذاك انه يعني من اتباع عبد الرحمن الخالق.
So in this conversation, Sheikh Salem Taweel like openly asked him, from which generation are you? Because of course now Sheikh Salem Taweel basically, because this guy comes from a place called Jahra in Kuwait. Now Sheikh Salem Taweel knows the people in Jahra, because of course Kuwait is a small country, so everybody knows everyone. This is it. Now Sheikh Salem Taweel knows the people of his age and some people who are older than himself. This is it. So of course, then after that, the Sheikh Salem Taweel asks him, "What's your manhaj? Like, where did you come from? Like, what's your generation? Because you are seen with that guy who called for donation to Syria. You are seen with that guy who was with the camel. This is it. You are basically took selfie with the guy who was with the camels. You are seen with the guy who went to the camp of Gaddafi. Basically, you are seen with all of these takfiris out there." That's it. So Sheikh Salem Taweel then says, like basically said to this guy, so but this guy didn't clearly mention himself about his association with these people. This is it. And they didn't want to speak. He didn't want to speak. That's it. So then let's see what happened.
وان اقرب الناس له الدكتور عبد المحسن اللي كما، وهذا الدكتور.
And of course, then after that later, I came to know, Sheikh Salem Taweel is saying, is that this Dr. Naif guy is from the followers of Abdurrahman Abdul Khaliq. This is it. And to be specific, he is like among the followers, he's even more closer to a guy called Dr. Abdul Muhsin so and so. Now, of course, Sheikh Salem, that part was cut out from the clip due to privacy reasons.
معه. بعد ذاك تبين لي، أنا تكلمت بكل صراحة وعن التكفيرين وعن كذا، وقال لي أنا في العلاقات العامة كل الشريعة لازم أدافع عن الشريعة. طيب تدافع بالباطل، تكلمت حق أن هؤلاء تكفيريون. المهم بعد ما نصحته بعض الأشياء، اكتشفت بعد ذلك أنه الرجل مع السروريين رسمي. راسلته، أنت تقول أنك كذا وكذا، هذه صورك عند الإبل مع واحد سروري رسمي. قلت أنت تجالس هؤلاء، طلعت كيف وإبل مصورين مع الناقة. لا أنا ما أتخذ أسلوبك. شنو أسلوبي وأسلوبك هذا؟
So Sheikh Salem Taweel, right, then of course after he came to know that like, this guy specifically is from, like basically he is an official sururi. That's and even with the like basically all of the selfies and the pictures which are of his spread online are with official sururis who are a close connection with Abdul Rahman Abdul Khaliq, with with that with Surur Zain al Abidin when they were caught in Movenpick Hotel, Allah stand in a free zone. Allah stand.
دين هذا ما هو يعني مسألة أسلوب ولا ربع ولا جيران، ناس تكفيريون.
Then of course this guy said that I don't take your way. Basically the way you are advising me, I don't take it. I am not on board with that. So Sheikh Salem Mutawil says, like it is not my way or your way. It is about you being associated, you associating yourself with these takfiris. That's a really severe and dangerous matter.
هذا اللي مصور معاه عند الانياق تكفيري، يقول الملك فهد طاغوت.
To be specific, the guy with whom your selfie is there with this with she camel naga, right? That guy, right, is big a huge takfiri. He you would say the King Fahd is the Mumstan.
الملك فهد اللي الله عز وجل سخره لنا وقف معنا وقفة ما يقفها إلا نوادر الرجال. قال إما أن تبقى السعودية والكويت وإما تذهب الكويت والسعودية.
Very important statement, ikhwan. Is that Sheikh Salem Taweel says is that King Fahd rahimahullah, right, was someone who is among the rarest of the men. Not only just a man, but the rarest of the men. Because when Gulf War happened specifically, right, and of course Sheikh Salem Taweel is showing that gratitude towards King Fahd and the Saudis. Is that King Fahd said, either Kuwait remains, إما تبقى الكويت والسعودية معا وإما نهلك معا. Basically, that Kuwait and Saudi Arabia would remain together or would be destroyed together. As in, King Fahd stood in the forefront defending Kuwait. And that's why like people say the issue of American bases and whatnot, and like basically istighatha bil kuffar is kufur and whatnot. This is it. In these situations, right? Sometimes in these situations it could become wajib. This is it. Because back in those days, of course I'm giving you the context so that it becomes easy to understand. And of course one thing, the good thing about the brothers in the Gulf and even Mashayikh in the Gulf is that they are grateful towards whom who helped them. This is it. They're in this difficult situation. Whether it is on a national level, political level, even on a personal level also. This is it. That's the really good thing. But on the other hand, my people, along start from the subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and even other people out there in the world, and even the people in the West and whatnot, usually are not basically grateful towards the people, along stand. And of course, that is something I personally hate, along stand. Is that when you do something for somebody and he's not grateful to you, right? That boils my head big time. This is it. But if someone is grateful to you and look for you doing something, I love him for the sake of him. This is because this is natural human instance. This is it. This is really natural human instance. Even with kuffar, by the way, let me tell you. Like, for example, if a non-Muslim does something good to me, am I not supposed to be grateful to him? Yes, I am. That's naturally human instance. I mean, something as simple as saying thank you. Allah Mustaan. Something as simple as saying thank you, right, is something natural and human, which this heart has naturally. But Allah Mustaan, these feelings are not there anymore in the people, or they are getting it like they are decreasing it less and less. This is it. Allah musta'an wa lituflahu la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And of course, no doubt, to a Muslim, like when you want to show gratitude, you would say Jazakallahu khair, obviously. And I personally, right, anytime, even though this is it, like even to my students also, this is it. I would always say to them Jazakallahu khair for your valuable cooperation. This is it. I always say that. This is it. So that I could say, look, I am grateful. Because whoever doesn't thank people, he doesn't thank Allah. This is a lesson we all should take. Let's continue.
هذا يأتي ويقول عنه طاغوت ويدرس عنده في مكة سروري محترق صاحبك.
Now, of course, now this specifically Sururi guy, they used to call King Fahd Taghut openly. This is while studying in Makkah itself. Just imagine, like you are studying in that same country, and that under that ruler's leadership, the university, like that his government provided you like a scholarship and whatnot, and you're learning, studying there for free, and you're calling him Taghut. This is too much. This is like much more disgraceful than a dog. فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ الْحَتَّى تَتْرُكُهُ الْحَتَّى. It is much worse than this. That you're calling someone, you're biting the hand who's fed you. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. This is it. When somebody feeds you and somebody gives you favor or something, then, right, if it was allowed in Islam, then you should have done sujood to him. This is it. But of course, since it's not allowed in Islam, at least Jazakallahu khaira, thank you, and you do not call him Taghut. At least have a goodwill towards that person. Even if you don't like other things of his, that's not an issue. This is it. Now, according to you, okay, he is not ruling by Sharia. Okay, agreed. But still, you should have that goodwill in the heart. But no, these Ikhwanis would not have that. This is it. As Allah said in the Quran, وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَن نَصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. Same situation is with Ikhwanis. وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْإِخْوَانِيُّونَ وَالسُّرُورِيُّونَ حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. Allah musta'an. Same issue is that they would not be pleased until you follow their way, their religion. Allah musta'an.
الرجل يترفع ما يقبل. حذرته كثيرا مرارا بالليل مكان وبالنهار مكان.
Now this man, this Dr. Naif keeps on gaslighting me, as in rejecting, like basically denying all of these things. And I kept on warning him, like you are seen with like these people at the night and with those other people in the day.
وإلا به يتطور بالأمر يستقبل الددو الحاقد. هذا الحاقد اللي آخر ما كان أن يطرح يريد من الناس تخرج في الأردن وتقوم الفوضى. الحاقد هذا ولا يستقبله ويقدمه آخر ولا محمد حسان.
Even though I warned him again and again, but still it reached to the point where he greeted and welcomed Daddu. This is it. Of course, Walad Daddu, very famous and problematic Ikhwani preacher, and Muhammad Hassan. Now, of course, Daddu, a guy who is haqid, with someone who is a huge instigator, who called for chaos in Jordan, to be specific, recently. This is, of course, when the Sheikh Salem Taweel said recently, the video when Sheikh Salem Taweel was taking, this is like almost a year ago, and even you guys have also seen the news. This is it, that something was about to happen in Jordan, but of course, alhamdulillah, things became normal, because alhamdulillah in Jordan there is a strong leadership. This is it, of King Hussein. This is it. Now, of course, these people, right, these Khawarij and the Takfiris, right, and of course Muhammad Hassan, another guy who in the Arab Spring openly said, and of course if my Egyptian brothers are there, they would know better, like what I'm saying. Is that this Muhammad Hassan guy during the Arab Spring in Egypt, right? He was asked openly, is that like in this protest which is happening, right? Are you going in this protest? So he said, yes, I am, and my family is going there. Just imagine. Now, before that, before the Arab Spring, he used to say, no, this protest is haram and it like it is thought something beneficial. He used to say that before. But once the Arab Spring came, he changed his stances. This is it. That means following the what's called moja, so following the flow. This is it. Allah musta'an.
صاحب الثورات هذا آخر ولا سعيد الكملي اللي مع الصوفية.
Another the Dr. Naif even was seen with Saeed al Kummali. Oh, Saeed al Kummali. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Who is with the Sufis. Now, Allah understand, this is it. Whenever Saeed al Kummali is mentioned, there are brothers who get sensitive regarding this. Look, because even one of my teachers, this is it, but back in Qura days, and of course I want to put this clearly so that if the brothers are watching, they could understand. One of my teachers, and who also was like principal of the Institute of Arabic Language in Qura University back in 2019, 2020, that's it, back then, who is Sheikh Hassan bin Abdul Hamid al Bukhari. This is it. Now, I also saw some images of his with Saeed al Kummali and so on and so forth. But till today, I'm not sure like how closely he's associated with Saeed al Kummali. But of course, I personally consider him to be Muayyan, even though he's my teacher. He has been my teacher. But I personally consider him to be Muayyan. This is it. Because the truth is bigger than Sheikh Hassan Bukhari. This is it. Hafidahullah wa ghafurullah. May Allah preserve him and may Allah forgive us and forgive him. And may Allah guide him to be firm upon the way of the Salaf and keep himself clear. Because Allah understand, this is it, like when I mentioned this, one of my students mentioned to me that he was told that he is a Sururi. So I clearly clarified myself there. And I would clarify it here again as well. That I also came across this, him being a Sururi. But of course, I am not 100% certain whether he is a Sururi or not. But I could only say that he is Mumayya, surely. This is someone who watered down the month, surely. That's what I would say. Similar to one of those Asatidha in UK. This, if you guys know which Ustad I'm speaking about, you guys will know. Like these Asatidha whom I'm referring to in UK, this is currently are in the UAE. This is, I would not say more than that. This is, yes, Allah understand.
ما عرفنا هذا الرجل. يعرف الإنسان بخدنه. قل لي من تصاحب أقول لك من أنت. يوم يمين يوم شمال. ما بقى تكفيري ما بقى ساقط. إلا أنت معه وتصور معه وتقدمه ولا تقبل النصيحة وتترفع.
And then of course Sheikh Salem reiterates himself and says is that like basically like the like every takfiri out there, every sururi, every sufi out there, you tend to welcome him. You you take selfies with him, you take photos with him, right? And you reject advice and you keep on gaslighting me.
وجب التحذير. أتقرب إلى الله عز وجل بأن أحذر منك ومن أشكالك.
And that's why it is now it becomes an obligation of me to warn, right, for the sake of Allah against you and the ones who like you.
لا تقبل نصيحة وتتكبر. ما هذا؟
You do not accept advice and keep on being arrogant. What's this?
ما هذا؟ أنت مع التكفير ولا مع السلفيين؟ مع الدولة ولا ضد الدولة؟ كم وجه لك؟ أنا يؤسفني جدا أن الناس تجاملك.
And of course, Sheikh Salem says to this doctor, that like you are having this double faced attitude is problematic. That whether you're like nobody knows whether you're with the country or you're against the country, or you're with the Salafis or you're with the Ikhwanis. This is it. And then of course Sheikh Salem then says, this is it, that some people sadly like yujamiluk, they like now beautify you as in like you let it slide for you.
المجامل ما تصلح في دين الله. تدمر الشباب، تتظاهر بالأخلاق وأنت على خلق. أنا أجزم بأنك على خلق، لكن ترى ذاك اللي يقول أعطوني أقطع الرؤوس أيضا كنا نعاني. يقول هذا الرجل منحرف، يقول لا، أخلاق أقل شيء. يبي يقطع الرؤوس، جيبوا لي 10 قطع رؤوسهم، أي أخلاق؟ هذا أصحاب فتن، وهذا بالعكس أخطر. هدوء وأخلاق وابتسامة، والفكر أعوذ بالله فكر قتل وتهييج وجمع تبرعات بالباطل وتجنيد الشباب وحرمانهم من أهاليهم ووقوع في العقوق وفي القطيعة والفتن. بئس الأخلاق هذه التي تستعمل في نشر هذه المناهج الباطلة.
Then, of course, the issue of akhlaq Sheikh Salem Taweel raised very greatly. Now, of course, no doubt Sheikh Salem Taweel reiterated some of the things before. This is it, and I will try to basically I would, instead of reiterating, I will connect it to what you see even in the West as well, inshallah. This is so that, of course, what he said, Hafidahullah, would be relatable. So, basically, Sheikh Salem Taweel says is that basically you keep on calling for manners and akhlaq, while at the same time your association is with a guy who also apparently basically would call for akhlaq, but at the same time but his ultimatum or his final result of what he told to the people, right, on the bigger stage and at some point in time, is that bring me 10 heads, I will cut them off. This is it. Lomstan. Basically spreading the ideology of khuruj and takfir using akhlaq as a bait. This is it. Because you guys have heard of rage baiting. Now here these guys are akhlaq baiting. Of course that's why Sheikh Salem Taweel says بئس الأخلاق هذه التي تستعمل في نشر هذه المناهج الضالة. So made these such akhlaq be disgraced which are used to spread deviant ideologies. And of course, you will observe this really well, like someone like Muftari Menk. This is it. I don't, because calling him Mufti, right, would not make sense at all. Someone like Muftari Menk, Muftari, that's a Muftari, liar. This is it. Because of course, one of the recent stories is that a brother from Sheffield, this is it, may Allah preserve him, he was there, I don't know what was the reason this brother was there. But this brother, this is openly stood in front, this is and told Mufti Menk on his face, or Muftari Menk on his face, that you are wrong, you are spreading the false manhaj and so on and so forth. So of course, what happened is that the masjid staff, this is it, drifted him or basically escorted him away from the masjid. And then of course later it became huge. Now of course one of the brothers who I know from Sheffield, this is it, also knows this brother. This is it. Now, usually in Sheffield, Allah Mubarak, they are basically strong, firm brothers upon the West Salaf, specifically of Yemeni origins. Now, this brother himself also who stood firm against Muftari Menk. This is it. He was of Yemeni origins. So Allah Mubarak, but of course, sadly there was this fiasco and everything happened. Of course, no doubt the chapter is closed, but of course, I'm mentioning this to tell you guys that in short, that they basically akhlaq is basically just a bait. This is it. It is just a bait or a trap for you being attracted towards deviant ideologies. That's the thing, in short, nothing else.
الواجب على المسلم أن يكون له وجه واحد، أن تكون وجهته واضحة، أن يكون ظاهره وباطنه واحد، ويوم مع هذا يوم مع هذا. نسأل الله العافية. وجب الأمر أن نحذر من هذا الدكتور وأمثاله حتى لا ينخدع الناس بهم، وبهذا تقرب إلى الله جل وعلا، والله المستعان.
Then of course Sheikh Salem Taweel ends it at the beautiful note and says, it's that it is obligated on a Muslim to have one face. This is it. And it is also an obligation to refute and warn against such dakatira who have who are double faced like this. This is, and then Allah musta'an, may Allah guide us, may Allah help. So, of course, as you can see, Ikhwan, is that you will find this issue, like specifically, there is a well known preacher named Abu Tami'. This is it. Of course, I used to call him Abu Tami, but he has become official Sururi as of now. But I used to call him Abu Tami because he has had Tami in his manhaj. There's no doubt that in his initial days of da'wah, like Allah Mubarak, he was like one of those zealous brothers who would call for Salafia openly. This is it. But he had some controversy with Adnan Rashid. This is, of course, now I'm mentioning the names because these things are public. This is it. So after the controversy, he had a self-reflection. This he reflected on himself, and of course after that he started to take back all of the stances. This is it. Similar to that another well-known guy, YQ, Yasir Qadi. This is Allah Musta'an. And of course, then he became, as we know today, that he is going to all of these global events with Muftari Menk and Noorun Ala Noor, all of these events, Allah Musta'an. Of course, I'm mentioning all of this to you guys so that you could understand how the things which we are seeing in the English Dawah scene, already they have had happen in the Arabic Dawah scene. Now, Mashayikh like Sheikh Salem Taweel already have refuted them. This is it. Refuted all of these concepts and misguidance and all of that. That's it. And this is it. And, they have set the record straight. This is it. So, inshallah, with that being said, we'll conclude this episode here for today. Subhanakallah bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.